Hi everybody, welcome to this new video. This is my first video where I teach you guys how to program, how to code. The language that we're going to be coding in is known as Swift. Swift is used to code everything that has to do with, okay, let's close that. Swift is the coding language that is used to program everything that has to do with Apple. So iPhone, iPads, iPods, they all work with Swift. So to code Swift, we're going to be using a software made by Apple called Xcode. You can download it from the App Store, no problem. And once it's downloaded, we're gonna open it and we're gonna get started with the playground, which is this voice right here. You can just click it easily, and then this window will open, and you just gotta choose blank because we're gonna start with a blank exercise. And let's just give it a name. I'm gonna just call it lesson 1. Unluckily, this is the second time that I make this video because I accidentally deleted the first one. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about variables. Variables, you can see them as drawers, as lockers, and they are used to store data. Now, what we have here when we make a playground exercise, we have already a default variable that is made by Swift. Well, I'm going to be erasing that for now because we don't need it. I want to introduce you to the two kind of variables. Now, one, you can see it as, one is called variable. You can see it as a locker that you can open and close. And this is called variable, and you declare it. And when I say declare, it means create. We don't say I created a variable. We say I have declared a variable. So we have declared a variable right now with var. This is the keyword that will let the computer know we have created a variable. Now there's two types of variables I was saying. One is variable and one is let, which is known as a constant. And the difference between the two is the keyword that we use to declare them. So, for a constant we use let, for a variable we use var, and also the way that they work. So they both store data, but the way that is different is that variable can change the value throughout the code, while let can't. You can see it as variable being a drawer where you put in some data. So let's say you put in some socks, and then the day after you want to open the drawer and get those socks, you can do it. While with the variable let, which is known as a constant variable, once you put your socks in the drawer, you cannot get them out. You can see them if you need, but you cannot change what is in the drawer. So, for example, a good name for a variable could be age, because my age increases by 1 every year. And a good example for a constant could be my name. Now, how variables are declared, we know that with a keyword, let or var, and then we must name this something. In my case, I'm going to name the variable age, and then the constant, I'm going to name it name. Now, we got to put an equal sign, and be careful, guys, because Xcode is different than your normal math. Now, if you have studied algebra in high school, I'm pretty sure that you know what an equal sign means. Well, usually it means equals to. Well, that's not really the same thing here in Swift, because one equal sign means that whatever is after the equal sign means it's the value. So basically, whatever comes after the equal sign means it's the value, it's the data that is going to be held by the variable. And so one equal sign is whatever comes after me. It's a data that you must store. Well, if you want to use the equals to, we just use two equal signs, and this will be seen. This is seen as equals to, and this is seen as holding a precise data value. Now, once we have used the keyword and we have given it a name, we can put the data in. In my case, for age, I'm going to put 0. I am not 0, but I will do it for learning purposes. I will show you later why I chose this. And for variable name, I'm going to be putting in my name. God damn it. Okay, there we go. I'm also going to be creating two new variables. So when I create a variable, when I declare a variable, I must choose if I want to create a constant or a variable. You can change it though later in the code. If you realize that you needed a constant or a variable, you can just erase it and put var. It's the same thing. But I'm going to put let I'm gonna declare constant to show you what I mean. Now I'm gonna be creating a new variable, and so when I give it the name var, and I'm gonna call it something. I'm gonna call it raining, then equal sign, and let's have a look. Is it raining right now? Well, let's quick swap. And it is not raining right now. There's a sun, 16 degrees, amazing. So I'm gonna say it is not raining. Now, because because coding is very precise, coding only accepts a well-determined type of data, I cannot just say it is not raining. I must give it a value. In my case, it is not raining, so the value that I'm gonna give it is false. And then I'm gonna create another variable. Once again, we are creating a variable and not a constant, because today it is not raining, but tomorrow it could be raining, and so we must give it a changing value. Now I'm going to also create a new variable, and I'm going to call it seconds right now. We said false, and the seconds right now I am gonna give it a number value, which is gonna be, I don't know, just, you know, a random second. Let's say 13 seconds and 75. Now, I know you're smart, but you might be not an expert, you might be a beginner. So, well, you know, we have here the first three letters, which is the keyword. They are different, right? We have variables and we have constant. Then we must give the variable and the constant a name, which we did, and then the equal sign, which is default. And then after the equal sign is what I'm going to be focusing on. So you can see they all hold a different type of data. One holds a number, the second one holds a text, then we have a true or false declaration, and then we have a number with a dot. Well, all of these are known as data types. For example, once again, if you went through high school and you did basic algebra, you know that all the numbers from 0 to positive infinite and negative negative infinite, are known as integers. So the data type for this will be int. Now, when it comes to text and whatever we're writing something, these are known as strings. When it comes to true and false notations, these are known as booleans. And whenever it comes to numbers that include a dot something, it is known as double or float. Now notice here how I have put the slashes here. This is because whatever this is called commenting, meaning every time I want to write something that will not be run as a code, I just, you know, use these two slash, and I will see this as a comment. It is useful when you're a beginner. It is useful when you make long codes so you don't get messed up. It is useful when you work in teams because you gotta let the other people know what we're doing. So for example, if I were to work with a team of persons, I would write here declaring variable age, and I could say it's int. And then here I could say declaring variable name. It is of type string. And then here I could do, once again, declaring variable rain, which is boolean. Now notice here how I said variable, but although it is a let, well, let is a variable. It's like saying the surname, you know, you have the var or the let. It is still a person, you know. Let's say var is someone's name and let is someone's surname. Well, it is, both of them still are persons, so both of them are variables. One is just known as a basic variable, and the second one as a constant variable. So, you know, I'm gonna call it constant to make you understand better, but just know we can call them both ways. It doesn't really matter. Now here, same thing, declaring you know, variable called seconds right now, which is double. Now, what is the difference between double and float? Is an architectural difference. Float has a 32-bit architecture, while double is 64. Meaning, what that means is basically if you have a small number, you will use float. If you have a big one, you will be using double. Now, I'm gonna teach you your first comment, which is known as print, and this thing that opens here, you see, is called the autocompiler. The autocompiler helps you write the code, because let's say you have a very, very long variable name, for example, seconds right now. It's pretty long. It's the longest one we have. So it is enough for me to write SEC and now SEC, which, seconds right now. And the autocompiler will show me the most likely thing that I was gonna write, which in this case is seconds right now. When I write PR, it knows that I was trying to write print. So let's press enter. So let's press enter, and now let's put in the comment. Now print means that we will see in the console box, which is this one, whatever is between the brackets. So what I will be printing is a basic hello world. Now if we run the code, have a look. Come on. Hello world. So what I can do though is also I can print variables. Well, I must use though these I don't know what they're called, but I must be using these when I'm working with strings. So now let's say hello, my name is, and here I want to put in Francesco, right? But hold on a minute, why do I have to put in Francesco if I have declared a variable here, which is holding my name, which is holding the data, which equals to my name? I can just put in the variable name, so I don't have to rewrite every time. So what I do is a backslash, and I just put in my name, the variable in this case. And I can say, and I'm backslash age, years old. So let's run this again. And have a look, my name's Francesco and I'm 0 years old. Well, I'm not technically 0 years old, so we got to increase that. So what happens though here is that basically where the program says the variable age, it is going to switch what is inside the variable. It is going to search for the name variable, and it's going to put its data inside of here. Although I'm not 0 years old, so what I can do is I can add numbers, or I can overwrite the value, the data that it is holding. Now if I say age equals 17, goddamn, thank you, needed that, age equals 17, and I run the code again, it will give that I am 17 years old, which is what I wanted. Because what I'm doing here is I'm calling in the variable age, and I'm assigning it a new value. So it will, through the code is run in this order from 1 to infinite. So you see it says that it creates a variable which is 0 called age, and it holds 0. So throughout the whole code it will know that variable age has a value of 0 until here. Here it will see the name, the variable name, and it will see that we assigned it a new value. So from here on the value will be 17. Now what I could do is a little math, which is 18 minus 1, which is still 17. Oh yeah, we love that. I was joking. This is fine, let's leave it like that, because if I wanted to do something, I would have to do this. Variable age equals 18, and then I would have to do age minus 1. So now it works. So let's run it. Yay. There we go. So, well, that's pretty cool, right? Now let's get into a little detail here. I can do this. I can reassign it. The term is called override. I can override the function data because it was a variable and not a constant. If I were to assign age with a constant, it will give me an error, and it will not allow me to do that because we cannot assign a new value to a constant, so it must be var, right? In this case the autocompiler already showed up here, but no thank you. Now there we go. So this is pretty easy. Variables are pretty easy, nothing difficult. Now I will be erasing all of this, and I'm going to show you how to put in filters. So I want you to imagine right now that you are coding an app for Facebook, like the register screen, and well, you have to keep track of what the inputs, of what the user who's registering inputs. So let's say that in the name box, it will put in his name. So we must create a variable to keep track of the box, of the area where the user is going to write in his name. So to do that, we're going to create a variable that I'm going to call name. It could be a constant. And I'm going to assign it a blank value. Well, why is that? Because we don't know the user's name yet. He will be the one who will input it in. Then I will be having a VAR for the age, because there's birthdays and you can you change your age every year. This is a very easy representation. On Facebook you can also change your name, so this could be a VAR. And then we want the variable email, right? And the variable phone number, and equals. So I'm going to also let this blank, because the user will have to put those in itself. Now what I want though here is, what I can do is I can put filters. What are filters? So let's say that the user is 10, his name is Luca, his mail is luca@gmail.com, pretty easy mail, and his phone number is something like that. I'm sorry. So what happens, let's say I'm Luca and I'm a little bit distracted right now, and I put in the name box, I put 10, actually it must be 18 for Facebook, so let's say that I put 10, and in the age box I put the name, which is Luca. Well, the user would be registered as name Luke, as name 18, being Luca years old, which doesn't really make sense. So what we can do is we can add filters to the variables. How do we include filters? We use the two dots, and then we put the data type that we want. You remember before, integers, booleans, double, and float, and string. In this case, the name, as it will be a text, we want it to be string. Then the age, we want it to be an integer with a capital I. Email, once again, we want it to be a string. And the phone number, we want it to be an integer. So now, if we wait for a second for the compiler to compile, we will be getting two errors, because 18 is an integer, it's not a string, and Luca is a string, not an integer. So if the user were to put in the wrong data in the wrong box, the programmer would let him know. So now that we have all this box, we're gonna write a welcome message. I'm gonna say welcome, and then we include the variable name, which I'm gonna let you think about it. How do we do it? Okay, so you backslash and then you get the variable name in. So name, UR, and then the variable age. Now what's funny, or not funny, just interesting, is that the autocompiler will show you the variable name and also the data type that it is holding. So integer. And then you have registered with the email, and then backslash email God, email, and then once again backslash parenthesis phone number as phone number. So if we now run the code, have a look. Welcome Francesco, you're 18, you have registered with the email luca@gmail.com and 2919 etc. as phone number. So doing a little recap, by doing this, the user will be allowed only to put in whatever the data type the variable wants. So the variable name wants a string, we only can put in a string, which in this case should be Luca. And then for the changing variable, VAR, we give it a filter, which is integer, and meaning it only wants numbers. So this is it. It's a pretty easy thing. So I'm going to make a little recap now and have a look. Okay, there we go. I have made the recap. Now, let's recap very fast. We create a variable. First, we must decide if we want a variable or a constant. We create the variable, we name it age, and we assign it a value of their equals of 18. Then we create a constant. we give it a name, and after the equals comes a string, and the string is known as a text. Once again, we create two variables. One is called rain, which is of type boolean because it is true or false, and one will be variable cash right now, which is how much cash I have on my wallet, and I have 34.30, which is double. Now here we have applied a filter, so we create a variable, we give it the name age1 because we already have a variable named age, so that, you know, variables are fun because if you don't have to rewrite the variables every time. So if I wanted to increase my age by 1, I don't have to do variable age equals 18 plus 1. I can just do age plus 1. Easy as that. So I don't have to rewrite them every time. So I give the variable a name, which does not exist already, and I put the filter in for integers. I get the equals and assign it the value of 18, but we get an error. What is this error? I have said that I want an integer, and I have gotten a number in. Well, be careful, because Xcode right now, it's not seeing this as a number, it is seeing this as a text, so also as a string, because it is in between these. And if it is in between these, which I still don't really know the name of, then it will be seen as a string. So basically you just, you know, get rid of those and we're fine. Then we have another variable here, which this time is a string and is given the string data type of Francesco. Although if I remove these, it will give me an error. See? It's an unresolved identifier error. So I must have this in between here. Now, a very easy comment that I can do is print, which is the most basic comment. Autocompiler opens, I press enter, and I decide something to print. As I showed you before, I can either print the name, so one variable, or I can either print more than one variable. So hello, backslash, parentheses, name, and then you are, and once again the age, years old. So let's give it a run. Oh, we love this. We love a few errors. Yes, must still goes in between these because the print must print a text. And there we go. Come on. Yes, I have an Intel Core i9 and this is still like running so slow. Like, good job, Apple. There we go. It first prints my name, Francesco, and now it will print you're 18 years old. So what I can do now is, before, as we said, we can give variables new values as soon as they're variables. If they are constant, we cannot give them a new value. So for this example, I'm gonna change the LAT to variable, and I'm gonna say name, which is a variable name equals to whatever new value. So I'm gonna be calling it Luca. Now, if we run this again, we have overridden the variable name with a new data, which is Luca in this case. If it was going to be a let, though, it would give me the error because let is constant, and constant cannot be overwritten. So, yeah, that's it for today. We'll see you in the next video. In the next video, we're going to be talking about functions. Yay! Functions are very fun. I like them. But you know, I like them because I like to code. If you might not like to code, you might not like them. Although I will leave you with a question that you will write in the comments below the answer. How can I make this whole string, this whole comment, how can I make this shorter? Well, leave a comment down below so you can let me know, and I will show you in the next video how you can do this.